This is an incredible setup. Wow. It's very tough to understand that people will never understand you. It's very difficult for a sensitive heart to realize that not everyone is that sensitive, not everyone is that deeply feeling. You will never reach a point in which you will be able to be as deeply understood as you are able to understand yourself. That's the beauty of having intimacy with yourself. I feel like we've been designed to only reach a certain level of understanding with people, a certain level of depth. And the deepest relationship you'll ever have is with you and God. I view it as a blessing. I view it as something so incredibly beautiful, because no matter what, you're always alone. While we're so interconnected, our uniqueness is unmatched. We go through same traumas, we process emotions in a very similar way. Our bodies are designed in the same exact way. We're all equal, but so different. You know, I love this conversation about men and women, because women often say men and women are equal, and men strongly disagree with this statement, because how can we be equal if we're all so different? I think we're limited to words, but it's on an emotional level possible to understand where women come from, because even though we're equal in our design, we're different in how we use it. Makes sense or no? We're different in our purpose. We're different in our ability to process, our ability to utilize this design. But the value of the design is the same. There are some details that are different. I don't know. Not sure if I put it in the best way I could, but I can make like a proper prepared video about this, because it's an interesting topic. It takes more time than you would expect to reach an understanding and acceptance within yourself that you will never be met as deeply as you meet yourself. I live by this truth. People can only meet you as deeply as they met themselves. And some people haven't met themselves as deeply as you have met yourself. And it's not bad at all. They're just limited to their own field of perception. I'm not saying that it's necessarily negative. I don't mean that they're excused to treat you with disrespect or cause you suffering because that's all that they know. It doesn't have to be like that. I just mean that sometimes you don't feel completely fully seen because that's your natural expectation. I feel like when you know that your intentions are pure, when you know that you show up with the lightest version of yourself each time that you talk to everyone, you expect the same thing. Sometimes people haven't reached that same place within themselves, or sometimes they're not meant to reflect that energy. Sometimes they're on a completely different path with a completely different purpose, and they don't even know what you're talking about. It's not like they don't have emotional intelligence, it's just that they function in a completely different plane. Expecting that every person will have reached that same plane of thought, that same level of understanding of yourself and the outside world, and the whatever topic you're focused on, if it's metaphysics, if it's God, if it's family values, expecting everyone to match your values is unrealistic. It's even a little bit disrespectful. But I see beauty in it. It's like we're expecting to extract as much beauty and value from this world, even in every single interaction that we have with people. It's so cute. It's like we are trying to understand everyone as deeply as we can because we've met ourselves so deeply. We want to share this depth with everyone. It hurts us to know that not everyone will have reached that understanding in their lives. We sometimes even sabotage the situation to a point where we're trying to help them. We're trying to save them. There's no one to be saved. Everyone operates based on their field of perception, on their understanding, based on their purpose. Not everyone is meant to live a life how you want to live it. And so stop expecting everyone to meet you as deeply as you've met yourself. Instead, focus on meeting yourself there, giving yourself that love. And that comes back to why you don't need anyone to give you love. It's a human need to have connection. It's a very important part of your life, but you're capable to fulfill your own need of warmth, understanding, and love, and meeting yourself with depth and empathy. So being desperate is absurd in that case. When you find that understanding, you build so much self-love, you build such a beautiful relationship with yourself that it adds even more depth to that understanding of why people can't meet you with depth. So it's even more layers of depth into why they can't understand you. It can hurt you sometimes, but when you come to even more understanding of why that's happening, why it's so beautiful and why it's a blessing in disguise, it gives you even more depth. That's an unconscious practice of becoming what you want to reflect instead of chasing everyone and expecting everyone to reflect what you want them to reflect, because you can't make people understand you, you can't make people love you, you can't make people see you and value you for who you are. All you can do is pour that all into yourself and give yourself more depth so that that natural state of who you are can be so vibrant and clear and strong in its values that it can reflect people who are on a similar path. Because it's definitely not going to be 100% the same. That's why relationships require work. And a reason why I find so much beauty in the fact that people will only meet you as deeply as they meet themselves, and you can't expect everyone to meet you as deeply as you met yourself, because that's why when you meet someone who truly understands you, it sticks out so much. Understanding needs to be rare. Because if everyone could click so fast, if everyone had similar values, if everyone was agreeing on everything, in a situation when you find your person, you wouldn't even notice it because it would be the norm. But they stick out because they are as rare as you, they're as deep as you, they're on the same level of depth. Not meaning that everyone else is lower than you or they're not worthy of love. It's just that, frequencies match, and reaching a certain point of evolution gives you the privilege to see and understand people who don't understand you with even more depth, and give them space to evolve on their own terms. So that also gives you more freedom to expand within yourself and attract people who you actually desire, who would see you as deeply as they see themselves, Maybe not as deeply as you see yourself, because that's unique to you, as I said, but that gives this situation even more value, even more beauty, even more divinity. It's so rare. It's just everything that is rare is so beautiful. Everything that's not common, everything that you don't see every day is just so breathtaking. That's why I love love so much, because I believe that love is everywhere. Love is reflected everywhere, but I love the idea of having a partnership. I love the idea of having a divine union. I love love so much. I love romantic films. I love everything about it, because I feel like when you get to the point where you can say, I want to spend the rest of my life with you, no matter how difficult it will be to grow through things and build our characters and overcome challenges, I still want to go through this with you. It's like you've met yourself so deeply that you know that this person reflects it because they've met themselves so deeply. It's so rare. That's why it's so beautiful. That's why it's worth waiting for. That's why you don't jump into every relationship, or you don't give your energy to everyone you're physically attracted to or even mentally attracted to. You meet yourself so deeply so that you can understand their certain behaviors. Even if you don't understand them, you understand the depth. You understand the reason why. I've had history when I was expecting people to meet me right here, right now. Everyone. No excuses. If you don't meet me here, you're not worth my time. That was an important approach that helped me select who I allow in my space, and it definitely cleared some energies and, made me feel lighter. I stopped feeling so exhausted and weighed down after every meeting, after every social interaction, because I started valuing who I let enter my space. It just all circles around the idea of self-love and how selfless self-love is, because as soon as you start focusing and pouring into yourself, you're investing in the future version of you being able to deeply meet other people where they have met themselves, or even where they haven't met themselves yet. You're able to give them more understanding of what they don't understand about themselves because you've been there. You can show them and guide them and give them insight and reflect some parts of them that they don't see because you've seen that within yourself. This concept is really helpful when you're learning to empathize with aggressors, You're learning to empathize with abusers and haters and people who intentionally or unintentionally let their shadow side out, and they can't control their aggression. They haven't met themselves on that level, because you can truly see that their heart needs love and they're not doing it because they're evil. The reason why they don't understand simple things and they don't have values, they are not reflecting any goodness, is not because they're not good. It's because they're deprived of love and deprived of understanding. They haven't been shown any little bit of that love for them to be able to understand what it is, to know how to act, to know what to feel, how it even feels. People who are insecure, they don't know how to reflect confidence. They don't know how it feels. They need to be shown. They need to have these values inserted, and often in our society, things like that are not taught in childhood. Unfortunately, a lot of people are traumatized, and we need strong leaders. If we don't have strong leaders in childhood, we either become those leaders, or on our healing journeys, we meet those leaders that help us become our own leaders and control our minds. But sometimes we also get trapped in situations where we unconsciously choose to be led by leaders who control our minds instead of teaching us how to control our minds. A good teacher will always teach you how to heal yourself. A good healer, a good doctor will always tell you how to heal yourself. They won't try to heal you, because no one can heal you, no one can save you. There is no savior coming to save you. You are the savior. You have the savior within you, if you know what I'm talking about. Healers, teachers, doctors, they really just help you tap into that part of yourself, because they've met themselves there, they've been there, and they know how to lead the way. So if you feel connected to that healer, if you feel connected to that reflection of yourself, and you want to meet yourself at that level, you choose to listen and hear. That's a fairly hot take, but there's this discussion sometimes about death punishment. Every time I get asked if I could forgive someone who murdered someone, it's very difficult, obviously, for my mind to do that process, but I always, at the end, lean towards empathizing, and I can't stand the idea of death punishment. I don't understand how it's supposed to help anyone. It's a different conversation though. But I'm saying understanding this simple truth and realizing that people can only meet you as deeply as they met themselves helped me protect my peace and share more understanding and love. And the quality of the energy that I emit when I'm around people who don't understand me is more focused on love that they deserve, that they're deprived of, not on me trying to make my argument more vibrant than theirs because we're arguing. Winning an argument is never the point of a disagreement. Realizing how we can help each other meet ourselves deeper is the point of every challenging discussion. In order to have more meaningful connections, in order to have the right to expect people to meet you as deeply as you have met yourself, focus on meeting yourself there. It's the same as that last question that I asked on one of my most viral videos, how to find people who align with your values. Become a person who aligns with your values. Reflect your values. You can't expect people to reflect your values without reflecting your own values. The more you reflect your own values, the more stable you are within them, the more you reflect it even to the people who don't have these values, and they start appropriating them. They start wanting to be like you. You can't expect them to want that because you can't control their behaviors, but you create the society that you want. You create the world that you want. That's the whole point of Misfits. Why I was so attracted to that community, because if you don't like what you see, create it. If you don't like the music that's out, make it. If you don't like the clothes that are out, make your own. That's what Jaden and Will have been telling us. That's what I'm inspired by. That's the philosophy that I live by. If you don't like anything about this world, change your actions, change your thinking, change your behavior, and your world that you live in will start reflecting that. Not even in just your own perception, but physically you will start seeing change in people around you, and they will start appropriating some of your behaviors. If you talk to people nicely, they will start talking to you in the same way, because that's how we are. We reflect everything that we see around us. If you've been privileged enough and blessed with strength to see that sometimes people aren't that understanding and aren't that deeply thinking and sensitive, you can choose to be the first person to make a change and lead the way. So in order to attract love, go love yourself. In order to be understood, go understand yourself so that you can expect to be seen as deeply. Coming to this realization will help you understand the mechanism behind understanding. Understand the process and patience and empathy that it requires so that you can meet everyone, every challenging opponent with that love because you've been there with yourself. This simple sentence will help you build a home within yourself so you can always come back to a safe place and you can stop expecting everyone give you this safety. It's a really comforting thought. It's a really nice spiritual thing to do. It's a very deep practice of building a relationship with God. Basically, building trust with yourself, building a relationship with yourself that is so safe that you can start giving that understanding and love to others, even in the situations when it's very challenging on a mind level. I wish you to still choose to give love and understanding to people who are the most deprived of it, because they deserve it as much as you do. You just have a little bit more of that understanding, so you can bless them with it.